Good morning, good day, good evening. I am as always your host, Brody Robertson, and today we are back for episode 99 of Tech for Tea. Now you might be thinking, since next week is going to be episode 100, which usually would be like, big celebration time where everyone's gonna be like, wow, crazy, all these episodes I've made. Have I actually got anything, planned for episode 100? Anything that I'm actually going to be doing? I would be lying if I said I did. Now, you guys should know me by this point. I think the best way to put it is bad at planning stuff, or maybe not bad at planning stuff. I'm fine when I get around to actually planning it. It's just a matter of the starting to plan it. So, don't hold me to it. Maybe I'll, maybe I'll arrange for someone to come on for that episode. I'd be meaning to bring back like Cyan or Ren or someone like that. Maybe something like that'll happen. I don't know. It's up for the ether to decide. By that I mean I'll get around to it. Or I won't, in which case nothing will happen, and it'll just be a regular episode where maybe, I don't know, I go back and look at some of the older episodes or something like that. Maybe I do like a bit of like a bonus content where I actually do that and then make the regular episode like a regular episode-y thing. I don't know, I'll work something out. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about today, because that's a problem for future Brody. What I want to talk about instead, so you probably noticed from the title, I've said this before, and everyone who plays FF14 has said this before. Square Enix does not like your money. Square Enix does not like to take your money. They make it as hard as physically possible to actually pay them. So, the other day, I've been talking about wanting to join a free company, which is a guild for anyone playing any other game out there. I've been talking about wanting to join a free company for quite a while. And I finally found one I wanted to join. It's one that is going to be moving over. I already had like a couple of ideas of ones I wanted to join. But it's one that's going to be moving over to Oceanic when Oceanic fires up, which is actually very, very soon. I didn't think it was going to be so soon. Ultimately, I decided on joining the Monkeys of Eorzea, because I just want to run around with a tag above my head that says Monkey. And I've been chilling in the Discord a bit. Everyone there is really chill. Basically, also their home is in the jungles of Eorzea, which is also, or their home's called the Jungle of Eorzea, and it's in the Goblets. So like, it's pretty perfect. There's no other reason to live in the Goblet besides the fact that you're a monkey. Anyway, basically they're just a bunch of Twitch people, and that's fun. So I joined the FC, or at least I'm in the process of joining it. When you want to join anything, or you want to do anything in Final Fantasy XIV, you have to be actually logged into the game. Now, this is fine. The only problem I had is my sub fee had just expired, but I had it set up to automatically pay my sub fee, and I think I had it set up to buy like half a year or whatever the maximum was. Now, I expected that would be fine. I would log into the game, it would work. I try to log into the game, and I get a message saying, you do not have an active subscription. I was like, huh, that's wrong, because I know I do. I go over to the Mog Station, which is like the site where you give Square Enix most of your money. Some of the other money you give them in another place, but most of your money goes to the Mog Station. That's sub fees and fun stuff like that. Go into that, look at it, and it says sub inactive. Okay, I understood that. And where it says recurring payments, it has nothing listed. And I look in like the credit card section, and my card is not there. And I was very confused. Like, okay, I know I've literally done this. It said your sub will be paid on this day. You're good to go. So I was very confused. I tried to like reset it back up, and every time I try to set it back up, I get an error. I don't remember exactly what the error code was, but I get an error every single time. I try a different browser, I look up to see if there are any problems anywhere, if like the payment processor for whatever reason is having issues accepting payments. No issues there whatsoever. It just is not working. I go to my email and I see an email from the Square Enix support. I will find you the email, because I am not the first person this has happened to. And this is a problem that happens because of the fact that you play the game across regions. So the email in question, here we go. Thank you for using the Final Fantasy XIV Mog Station. This email has been sent to you, to inform you that an error occurred when processing a payment for Final Fantasy XIV. As a result, your subscription has been cancelled. The payment was supposed to happen on the 17th of January, paying with credit card for Final Fantasy XIV. You can probably hear the Thunderbird making noises. Anyway, so I was really confused because I know my card works. Like, there's no problem buying stuff. Like, I literally used the card earlier in the day. I can use it on other stores. No problem whatsoever. So, basically what happened here, my account, because when I looked up Final Fantasy XIV to buy the game, the first result that came up was the EU store. So, I bought the game on the EU store. So what that means is I have an EU account. I don't play on EU, I play on JP. Inside of the game, it's fine. It's just in the Mog Station stuff, I have an EU account. So the problem with this is I have an Australian credit card. I have an Australian credit card, an Australian bank, Australian address, all of that fun stuff. So because my card was not located in the EU, and I didn't have like an EU bank account or anything like that, they thought that the money couldn't be extracted because the money that could be extracted from my account wasn't in the correct currency. Now, this is not a problem that anything else has. I can go to US Amazon. I can go to, JP Amazon. I can go to, actually, JP might be different. I can go to European Amazon. I can use my card anywhere else because everybody else deals with currency conversion. Apparently, Square Enix doesn't do it, except on all of their other stores. So what I ended up doing is going to the Square Enix store. So the Square Enix store is their general store. This is the store for, buying other games they sell. The Mog Station is specifically for FF14. Maybe FF11, but definitely FF14. So I bought a Game Time card, which is basically, hey, I bought a prepaid sub thing. It comes with a code to unlock it. I put the code in, no problem whatsoever. So the same credit card worked on the Square Enix store and does not work on the Mog Station store. Stores owned by the same company to sell video games. I don't understand how Square Enix is so bad at accepting money. All you need to do is take my money. And there wasn't a PayPal option as well. Otherwise, I would have done that because PayPal does all the magic, currency conversion stuff for you. Just deal with it like everybody else does. Or accept other currencies and just let it work. I know there was someone on the subreddit for FF14 who had the same problem. I don't remember what country they were in, but they were playing on they had an EU account as well. So they had the exact same problem. And I expect this problem to be there basically for time immemorial because you also cannot migrate your account to a different region. Because Square Enix. It's such a fucking mess. Just doing basic shit with FF14. I love the game. And the hardest part about the game is just giving the money. And here's the thing, right? I much prefer that it's hard to give the money to have a bad game. But if I could have a good game and even just basic usability when it comes to giving the money, that would be great. But the other thing about the Mog Station is it actually redesigned the interface, I think with the launch of Endwalker, and holy shit, it's so bad. So the other thing when you do when you try to set up a recurring sub, if you click on Pay Sub Now, or recurring sub, it takes you to what looks like the same screen. There is no indication, like, anywhere on the screen itself that what you are doing is actually part of that system. What are you doing, Chase? What? There we go. So you just have to, like, be sure that you actually clicked on the right page. I was never sure, so I went back into, like, 5 or 10 times to make sure I was on the right page. And it didn't matter anyway, because I just needed a game card in the first place. The only problem with the game card is it is going to be a little bit more expensive for the sub. It works out to be, I think, $20 Australian a month with the game cards. If I paid for the sub, like, I think it was half yearly. I saved whatever amount, like maybe it was $5 a month for the sub or something like that. It's not like a massive thing, but it definitely was a price increase going to the game card. But it's fine. I'll deal with it. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, I had to pay it somehow. So, yeah. Actually, speaking of that FC, I'm probably going to be attending this because it's something I've been interested in for a while. Their last event before the new data center opens up, the new servers open up, is going to be a Eternal Bonding, which is basically a wedding in FF14. Can you stop scratching your head on the power button? The other day, Chase, like, bumped the power button and actually turned my computer off while I was playing. I think, stop doing that. While I was playing, I think Curse of the Dead Gods. So I need to make sure he doesn't do that again because he's going to. If I let him, he will do it. Anyway, yes. Eternal Bond is basically, you know, a wedding in FF14 because, hey, why not have weddings in your MMO? Anyway, oh, you can't see it. Shit. Fix that. Wait. Properties. No, wrong screen. Don't show my files. There we go. Yeah. It do be wedding. It is what a wedding is. And I just want to see what an FF14 wedding is like. I think it'll happen, I think it's like 2.5 hours before my Saturday stream. So I may very possibly delay my stream just for the purpose of attending this wedding. Because, look, at the end of the day, right, this is content. I've never been to an FF14 wedding. I've never been to a wedding in an MMO. I don't think I've played an MMO that's had a wedding, like, had like a wedding feature in it. So, like, this is content. I have to see what this experience is like and just see how it's going to be. By the time that you guys see this, it would have already happened. So I guess on next week's episode, I will let you know how it was. I might show some pictures of what happened. I don't think I've shown my character on... I don't think I've shown my character on the podcast, have I? I don't think so. Actually, anyway, since we're here on the Final Fantasy XIV website, here is my cat girl. There you go. This is my black mage outfit because... Look, the second I saw this, the Colosseum shawl, I knew I had to use it in some sort of glamour. And I found a glamour that I ultimately liked. I'll be back in just a second. Cats. Cats are annoying. Chase wanted to go outside, and I can't just leave him there scraping his face against the door, because he'll start, like, eating my bag, and that would be annoying. Anyway, yeah, I will let you guys know how that ends up going, and we'll see what sort of fun stuff actually happens. But since we're on the topic of FF14 anyway, and I mentioned the new data center, FF14 new data centers. I believe there's a new one I want to say there's a new one opening up in North America as well. I might be mistaken about that, but the new... Where is it? The new Oceanic data center is called Materia. So let's see. So there's an expansion of JP. Number of logical data centers, 3 to 4. Number of... Okay, so they're splitting out the worlds into more data centers. Why are you doing that? What is the reason for this? Currently, our Japanese data center comprises 3 logical data centers and 32 worlds. In 2013, when A Realm Reborn was released, we aggressively increased the number of worlds to cope with congestion. As a result, we now have a situation where 10 of the 11 worlds are handled by each logical data center, making efficient operation impossible. As a result, we are unable to increase the number of simultaneous logins per world in the same... Okay, right. So, because of their architecture, I guess their queue system is based on... basically the way that FF14 splits up its servers is into data centers, which I guess each data center has its own queue server. I'm guessing that's how they're structuring it. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what they're getting at there. I would assume that each of the servers handled their own queues, but judging by the way they phrased that, that doesn't seem to be the case. Therefore, from a long-term perspective, we're looking to add 1 more logical data center and lower the volume of worlds per logical data center, thereby significantly increasing the number of concurrent logins possible by several thousand per world. So we're going from 3 to 4 data centers, number of worlds unchanged, and then capacity over 50,000 possible. Huh, okay. Let's see. So they're not really like, so the way they're going to structure it is 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 rather than 10 by 11 by 11. Fair enough. How about North America? Currently, North American data center houses 3 logical data centers and 24 worlds 8 by 8 by 8. Okay. In order to cope with a drastic increase in player population, yeah, there has been. Endwalker definitely has been. Especially considering that you've had to stop selling the game. Due to the global shortage of semiconductors, actually that has happened. That has words. The sale has changed, but I'll let you guys know about that in just a moment. Due to the global shortage of semiconductors, it is taking considerable time to procure server equipment, but the schedule calls for the first phase to be implemented around August 2022, with second phase to follow in spring or summer of 2023. So, 1 new logical data center will be established and 4 new worlds will be added under it. In the second phase of the expansion, we plan to add 4 more new worlds under the newly established logical DC. So they want to take it basically to the same scale as the JP data center. Makes sense. And judging by, let's see, European. Currently, Europe has 2 data centers. I thought I had 3. I thought I had 3. Maybe I'm mistaken. FF14 servers. Clearly, they know what they're talking about. They're the ones who actually make the game. So it does. Okay, it does have 2 of them. Anyway, we are planning a major server expansion in 2 phases. Once again, 2 phases. So July and then summer 2023. Fair enough. A total of 4 new worlds will be added, 2 under each of the logical data centers presently housed in the European data center. In the second phase, 1 new logical data center will be established, and 8 new worlds will be added. Wow, they expect a lot of growth in the European region. I don't know how many people play how many people actually play in Europe. I don't play the European servers. I play JP at this point, but they want to expand a lot. That makes sense considering how big Endwalker was, but I don't know how many people actually have playing in that region. Anyway, so resumption of digital sales to new players. So January 25th, 2022 is when they're going to be opening that up. And that is when they're going to be opening the Oceanian? I've never heard Oceanian before. Oceanian data center and the capacity to accommodate additional players. Our desire to provide suitable environment for new players in the Oceania region, the playtime and login frequency of current players is steadily returning to normal levels. Yeah, I have noticed that. It's obviously partially due to the fact that the game hasn't been for sale, but as people get further in Endwalker and they play the expansion, all that fun stuff, obviously, you know, people are going to not log in as much as they were before. Obviously, the hardcore players are different, but if you're just there to try out the expansion, then you're going to come back, and when the next patch happens, you know, you're not going to stick around the entire time. Anyway, so the Oceania data center we've been planning for some time will be opening approximately 2 weeks earlier than scheduled. It was supposed to be in February, and I'm really happy that they're finally doing this. This may be a little sudden, but we'll be bringing it online on Tuesday, January 25th. And you might notice, 25th here, and they're reopening the sale of the game also on the 25th. So clearly this is happening on purpose because they want to make sure the Oceanic Data Center actually has new players, actually has players to just in general. Additionally, taking into account the current number of players in Oceania, the original plan was to initially add 3 worlds and later introduce 2 more. In light of the recent influx of players, however, we've decided to add 5 new worlds from the start. I didn't know they were going to split it up. With this, there should be more than enough room for everyone in Oceania to transfer over. Those in Oceania who have struggled with network latency issues should also have a better play experience. This will be explained in detail separately, but these being new worlds will be offering incentives to transfer to them. I'll talk about those in just a moment, such as waiving the transfer fee. Now, this is probably the least exciting part of the transfer. So I'll actually find it. Is this it? This actually might be it. Okay, here we go. So the new data center, the Oceanic Data Center, we have no idea what's going to happen with. I don't think we know what's going to happen yet with the new ones in NA, JP, and Europe yet, but we do know the names of the servers or the new worlds, whatever you want to call them, inside of Oceania. So as I mentioned before, the data center is called Materia. And as for the worlds, we have Bismarck, Ravana, Sephiroth, Sophia, and Zervan. Or Zervan? Zarvan? I don't know, Zervan. I'm going to say Zervan. From what I know, these are bosses that came from Heaven's Ward. I haven't played Heaven's Ward yet, so, yeah, I don't know. Creating new character on a newly established world will grant the bonuses outlined below. Please note the ability to use home world transfer service to transfer to new worlds will not be available immediately after the opening of the data center, but will begin Tuesday, January 25th, around 10 p.m. Wait, why are we doing it in PST here, but JST on the other one? Also, this is Oceania. Just use an Australian time zone. Anyway, or like New Zealand or something. Something in the Oceanic region. Anyway, bonuses awarded, actually, we'll scroll up a bit. Bonuses awarded at character creation. So this is when you make a new character, rather than actually transferring. Double XP until level 80 is reached. That is fucking insane. That is massive. A gift of 10 Chocobo feathers, exchangeable for low-level or low-mid-level gear to improve the leveling experience. I can't imagine that's super useful because gear up until, like, the end of an expansion doesn't really matter. Maybe it's different in Heaven's Ward, but in Realm Reborn at least, like, if you're going into a dungeon and you have level 35 gear and it's level 45 dungeon, like, you'll get through it just fine. Like, maybe gear mattered years ago, but it doesn't really now. At 50, yes, it does, but you also get Heaven's Ward gear the next level, so it also doesn't really matter. As for... Oh, wait. Bonuses for characters created during bonus period that attain level 30 in any class. If you can't get to level 30 with a double XP I don't know what the period is, but if you can't get to level 30, mate, like, I don't know what you're doing. Because you can get to level 30 in a day without double XP. So, with double XP, surely. Especially if it's a new character where you've already experienced the story and you just skip past the story. But if it is a new character, maybe it'll take you a couple of days. But even so, you have a while to do it. You get a gift of 1 million gil. Now, 1 million gil is a weird amount. So, you're not making 1 million gil in Heaven's Ward. It's, like, you can do it. It's just a pain in the ass. Did I say Realm Reborn? Or Heaven's Ward. In Realm Reborn, you're not doing it. In Heaven's Ward, maybe it changes, but Realm Reborn, maybe doing like really end game Realm Reborn stuff, you might like doing extremes and stuff. But until then, not really. So 1,000,000 gil in Realm Reborn actually is a pretty big deal. You can buy all the glamour gear you want, all that fun stuff. It works out pretty well. Also, a gift of 15 days of free game time, which, hey, that's cool. So that is going to only be for people who have bought the game, presumably. I can't imagine they'd give 15 days of free playtime to someone on the free trial. Anyway, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be transferring my character because I like my Mikote. I've got a lot of fun stuff on it, and I'm not getting rid of my Mikote. I've spent too much time grinding out levels and stuff. So for transfers, Homeworld transfer service is free of charge. I think normally it's like $12 or something. Not too expensive, but there is a cost to it. Double EXP until level 80 is reached, valid for 90 days following the transfer. 90 days is a long time. I would like the permanent double XP until 80, but hey, I'll take what I can get. I might have to use that to grind out, like, I'll just grind out all of my all of my Realm Reborn jobs to Heaven's Ward, because I've been trying to do that to like pick a new job to go into the Realm Reborn patch content for, and also then obviously Heaven's Ward. Right now I like the Bard. Anyway, gift of 10 Chocobo, 10 gold Chocobo feathers, exchangeable for special rewards such as rare mounts. Now, I want to check what you can actually buy with those, because I don't actually know. FF14 gold Chocobo feather rewards. Let's see what you can buy. Gamer Escape. Okay, what do we got here? Wait, you can... I'm sorry, you can buy dye. Actually, jet black dye is very expensive, so maybe that's actually kind of worth it. I'm gonna have to have a look at what some of these mounts actually look like, but there are definitely some mounts in here. What is this thing? What is that? That looks ridiculous. I'm probably just gonna get the mounts because why not? Oh, you can get Aetheryte tickets. Wow, Aetheryte tickets. Oh, so great. Is that a dragon? That looks pretty cool. That one is pretty cool, actually. What else do we have in here? Where is it? Amber Draft Chocobo Whistle. Is it just a Chocobo? It's just a red Chocobo with white feathers. No, I'm good with no Chocobo. I got my Chocobo already. I don't want to use my tickets on other Chocobo. Is that all? Are those the only mounts you can get? Am I just gonna be trading the rest of them for very expensive dye? I might be, to be honest. Yeah, no, the rest of it I'm just gonna be buying very expensive dye. I might just buy like 7 pieces of jet black dye. I think jet black dye sells for like 100,000 gil or something. So look, it's effectively like a gil trade as well. And people are gonna buy it because they like jet black dye. They actually like all of the pure dye colors, and they're also rare. So yeah, there is that. And then the last thing is owners of private estates / apartments are entitled to a certain amount of compensation in gil. Basically, I don't own a house, so it's not a thing for me. But I know the guys in the guild. We do have, as mentioned before, there is a small house. So we'll get a bit of money back on that one, and that's cool. But it seems like you won't actually be able to get a house on first day anyway. For whatever reason, they've decided to... So it's not going to be until 6.1 where you can actually buy property. And I don't know why they've done that. I presume there's a reason for it. Maybe because they don't want people to transfer the first day to just buy up the houses, which, look, it's fair. I can totally get that. But, hey, that's how it's gonna go. Speaking of that data center, though, I am very interested to see, like, what actually happens with the transfers, because I don't know if people are actually, like, how many people are actually going to transfer. So, there's been a couple of polls floating around, or, like, where people are going to transfer to. So, there's been a couple of polls floating around, trying to work out what world's going to be the most populated. Sephiroth, this is the only time I've seen it actually at the top of the poll, but I've seen Zervan at the top once. Apparently, Sophia is probably going to become the RP server, which, fair, that makes sense. But besides that, yeah, right now it's sort of just speculation where people are actually going to be going. Zervan, nothing. No one cares about Zervan. But I'm gonna go wherever the FC goes, and ultimately, like, it doesn't even matter because, like, FF14 opens up, like, cross-region stuff or cross-server stuff. Data center also, this isn't a big deal for Oceania. Because, wait, here, is it here? Wait, which one was it in? No, not data center. Did I say data center transfer? No, data center visit. Regarding the expansion of, here it is. Yes. Yes, maybe. Recommencement, no. Visit? Yeah, here we go. So, in response to congestion following Endwalker's release, we had postponed the launch of the data center transfer system. It is now being planned for a 6.1x patch, so we're not sure when it's going to happen, but the way it's going to work is players will be able to visit worlds in other logical data centers within the same physical data center. So that means, basically, you'll be able to visit worlds. Say if you're on JP, for example, you'll be able to visit... Actually, I don't even know the... Here we go. We've got a list here still. Say you're on Elemental. You'll be able to visit worlds in Gaia and Mana. Because these are in the same physical data center. They've just been segregated into logical data centers. Players will not be able to visit worlds in other regions / physical data centers, which I feel like at some point may possibly change. Now, there are definitely ping issues there, but what I would love to see is this whole idea of, like, locking down regions you can play the game just removed altogether. It was fine for RuneScape, and if you don't want to have, like, a global economy like RuneScape did, there are still ways you can handle it. You just don't let people on the market board, you don't let people buy houses, things like that, which they already do. Though cross-region travel is technically possible, implementation is still under consideration. Oh, so they literally are considering it. I really hope they do. I hope this actually happens. Like, yes, if you play, like, on the European servers and you're in JP, the lag's gonna be shit. But I love the idea of it actually being a possibility. So let's say, you know, there's some big event happening in North America, people could actually go to that data center and go to that server, even if that wasn't their home region. I think that would be really, really, really cool. Travel is initiated not while logged into the game, but from the character selection screen. Oh. Why? Why is it like that, actually? Because, like, when you go between worlds in the same data center, you can do it, like, in the game. I don't know why it's like that. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but I'm not sure why. As I previously mentioned in a live letter, while the system has been designed to allow cross-region travel, we'll be limiting it between logical data centers within a physical data center at first, due in part to differences in game economies and values. Okay, so they are considering it, but yeah, actually, I didn't think of that one, because from what I hear, the community on JP and NA are very, very different. From my experience on NA, there weren't a lot of people that actually talk. Just say NA. My experience on JP, there weren't a lot of people that talk. Apparently on NA, people are talking all the time. So there's obviously basic stuff like that, but I'm sure there's other things that would have to be considered. We'll be paying keen attention to the opinions of players as we consider whether or not to introduce cross-region travel in the future. Like, I'm just one dude, but I really hope they do. Like, this is something that I feel like every MMO just needs to do. There's no reason there's no reason to region lock your players besides these problems. These are problems that you do need to address. But besides that, even if it's just for, hey, you can do cross-region for people in dungeons. So I could queue up in a dungeon with someone from, like, NA, EU, and then someone from JP, and I'm on Oceania. Sure, there's going to be lag there, absolutely, but for, like, general dungeons, like, that doesn't really matter. Maybe for ultimates and extremes and high-level content, it would be different. But for the easy mode stuff, or the normal mode stuff, or even the hard mode stuff, well, there's no easy mode. The normal mode and the hard mode stuff, I think it would work out pretty well, actually. Compared to the world visit system we already have in place, the data center travel system will be subject to more restrictions for those functions that are managed per logical data center, such as free company chat and cross-world link shells. Fair enough. They would have to sort of completely redesign their infrastructure to make this actually happen. Partially because free companies and cross-world link shells, I presume, their names are only server locked and not data center locked. This is due to the fact that it isn't possible to keep an eye on chat and cross-world servers outside of the bounds, exactly as I said, of a logical data center. So because their architecture, it's just not going to happen. Aside from that, however, there are just about no restrictions. Be it undertaking quests, forming parties, or using the duty finder, you'll be able to play the game as usual. If you have a means to communicate with others, such as a lodestone or companion app, it should be possible to form statics. That's actually really cool. So you could actually have a static across the entire JP region or entire NA region, whatever you want to do. That actually opens up a lot of possibilities. If you want to join a free company or link shell in another data center, you'll need to transfer your home world. Fair enough. But we think that the system will otherwise provide an enjoyable experience. We ask for your patience just a little longer. Honestly, I think that's great. It's a first step, and I hope they continue with it and make it more open. So now that I've scared away everybody who doesn't care about Final Fantasy XIV, let's talk about something different. And one of those something different is, oh my god, there's a lightsaber in this game. Sorry, I didn't realize there was a lightsaber in this game. So this is a game called The Greatest Penguin Heist of All Time, which is a very wordy name, but what it is basically a physics-based, I don't know how physics-based, judging by what we're actually seeing in the videos, not like, what's that game where you, like, Gang Beats, that one, where, like, you run around, you, like, grab people, your arms swinging around everywhere. It doesn't seem to be, like, that level of, physics-based, but there does seem to be some, like, physics-based, physicsy movement, I guess you would call it. There's some sliding and stuff, because, you're a penguin, you, like, wobble around, and you can obviously, like, fall over and shit, and the gun mechanics look questionable at best. I think that's a lot of where the physics-based stuff actually comes in. But what this is it's a co-op game where you play as a penguin and you're trying to steal shit, I guess. Also, it is in early access, and from what I understand, the developer of this game also uses Linux. Now, the game isn't open source, sadly. Otherwise, that would make it something I'd have to play on the main channel and would have to, like, mess around with people on, like, the main channel streams. But I'm sure that I can find, at least one or two other people who'd be up for playing this game, at least playing it once or so, and just seeing what it's actually like. I don't know, like, when it's ultimately going to come out, but they are still definitely working on it. They had an update as of 4 days ago of the recording of this. King Pingna Mines. I read that as King Pinger Mines just before, but why are we heisting a mine? Why are we heisting a mine? I don't get it. But hey, it is what it is. Once we're done with the revamps and the blueprint system for picking up and unlocking weapons, we're going to start implementing new game modes with larger team sizes, such as PvP Deathmatch. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to play this game at some point and see what it's all about. But speaking of games that we're going to see what they're all about, this was announced, what, a few weeks back? I didn't ultimately talk about it when it was first announced because I just forgot. I had a lot of topics that week. Sonic Frontiers. Now, I've never been a super big Sonic fan. Like, I played Sonic games, absolutely. But what this is, you can probably tell, like, literally the screenshots don't show anything besides this. It is an open world Sonic game. Worlds will collide in Sonic the Hedgehog's newest adventure. An experience like never before, accelerate to new heights and experience the thrill of high-velocity open zone freedom. Open zone, not open world. Big zones, basically. Battle powerful enemies as you speed through the Starfall Islands, landscapes brimming with dense forests, overflowing waterfalls, sizzling deserts, and more. This holiday 2022. Now, from what I can see, like, we don't really know anything about this game at this point, but from what I can see, like, the whole selling point is it's open world Sonic. And I don't know how well that actually works. Like, we're gonna have to wait to see how the game actually plays, but I don't know anybody who's actually, like, asking for an open world Sonic. All of the games journalists are talking about, like, how important this is, how the open world pivot is exactly what the series needs. I don't know whether you can build a Sonic game that is also open world. I really don't know. Because we've seen different styles of Sonic games. Take, what's the one where you transformed into the first one where you transformed into a werewolf? The werehog, whatever you want to call it. Sonic Unleashed. Yeah, Sonic Unleashed. That's, like, I remember when Sonic Unleashed came out, and, like, yeah, this is clearly a different style of game, and that's fine. I think it's fine to like, mess around with different ways to approach the franchise, but I really don't know whether this is going to be something that anyone ultimately cares about, or if this is going to be, like, another one of those weird Sonic experiments, where it's like, okay, well, this is technically a Sonic game. Sonic is in the game, but by all accounts, you wouldn't call it a Sonic game. If that makes sense. Like, the thing about Sonic, you probably know if you ever played a Sonic game, is it's about speed. It's about doing things fast. And I don't know how you build those fast movements into an open world system. Especially an open world system that isn't boring. Because that's the problem with a lot of open world games. A lot of open world games, they are open world for the sake of being open world, but the worlds themselves don't actually have anything in them. Compare that to something like, I know Skyrim's a bit of an old example at this point, but Skyrim generally feels like a living world. You'll go from, like, the first area to, is it Riverwood, I want to say? Riverwood, yes. You go from that area where you're a prisoner to Riverwood, and you can get sidetracked fairly easily. Like, a fox may run past you, and it's being it's chasing a rabbit or something. Or you might see bandits run by. Obviously, there are mods to, like, improve the amount of liveliness in the world, but generally the world feels fairly alive. A lot of open world games, though, it feels like the world is just, it's just big. It's just big, but there's nothing in it. And this is a problem with a lot of games, not even open world games, in a lot of games that just have really big cities. Like, there'll be these massive cities, but the only thing that matters there is a shop and a quest giver. And you're like, okay, well, there's all of these other NPCs around, but why are they here? What purpose do they actually serve? And you realize that it's nothing. Some games get around that fairly well, like take Persona 5. Persona 5 obviously takes place in Japan, and Japan, very big place. But the areas that you're in are ultimately very small areas contained within this large known world. And I think when you're not going to fill out a world, that is a better way to handle it. But hey, I don't know what this game's actually going to be like. Maybe Sonic Frontiers is going to be great. I'm not going to be holding out hope that it's going to be this like revolutionary Sonic game, though. My guess is it's probably more likely to be just another one of those Sonic experiments that sort of gets forgotten about, or maybe they just go down that route and everyone's like, why? Stop it. Just give us a good Sonic game, which has happened with plenty of franchises in the past, and I hear has happened with Sonic plenty of times in the past as well. Now, I can't get away from this episode without talking about sort of the biggest story that happened in gaming over the past 2 years? I don't know how long. Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. I don't know how this happened. Like, if you said to me a couple of months back, oh yeah, Microsoft is going to buy Activision Blizzard, I would be like, wait, they're going to buy Blizzard, like the company that has people who were stealing breast milk and were like doing like desk crawls and getting drunk at work and ultimately just being a really shit place to work. That Blizzard. But yes, now I didn't understand this initially, but Asmongold explained this actually fairly well. So normally when you would buy a company, you'd want to probably get that company audited. You want to make sure that, you're buying a legit company, make sure they are, everything's above the books. You don't buy like a legal nightmare. Now, you would think you'd want to audit someone like Blizzard, but they just had an audit. Like, the Californian government just did that audit for you. So buying Activision Blizzard basically is like, it's a free audit. And I'm sure for them, it's like, it is an absolute big win. Now, I don't know what this is going to mean for like the future of Activision Blizzard games and Microsoft. What's probably most likely, what we know is going to happen is that Activision Blizzard titles, at least most of them, we don't know what games specifically, are going to be brought under the Microsoft Game Pass, PC Pass banner. So that's going to have more games, available to it. And look, for gamers, I think that's cool. You can make an argument that the monopoly that Microsoft is building probably isn't great, and it'd probably be better to have them like not all be owned by a single company. But I don't know whether that's going to ultimately be an issue, because the gaming space is weird, right? Like, there's nothing in the gaming space that... Like, there's nothing in the gaming industry that forces you to play a specific game. It's different... Like, antitrust is different in, like, the mobile space with, like, Android and Apple. Because Apple physically locks you down to what you're actually able to... What store you're actually able to use. In a lot of cases, Microsoft actually has their stuff available outside of the Microsoft Store. Plus, they might own all of these publishers and game developers, but you just don't have to play their games. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be someone looking into antitrust in the Microsoft in the Microsoft case. I'm just saying I don't know whether it's going to be a problem from a legal perspective. Microsoft is, of all companies, they are very, very likely to have already looked into it. Maybe they've made like backdoor deals, or they've spoken to people in positions of power and sort of have an idea of like how this would actually go down. But I can't imagine they're just going into this deal blind, being like, oh yeah, we're just going to buy this company and we're just going to hope there's no antitrust problem. I'd be surprised if that was the case. I'd be more... I expect it's more likely they have a rough idea of how it's going to go down already, and just they're working within that framework. But I didn't mention how much they actually, how much they paid for it. So they paid $68.7 billion for Activision Blizzard. Also, that includes King. King is under the Activision banner. And you know what? Just getting King is a really fucking good deal. Like, King and Warzone from Activision, like, that is already a good deal itself. But all of the other titles, man, Microsoft is fucking... They're basically taking the, like, the cookie clicker approach to becoming trillionaires. Basically, the idea is you don't do shit, you just buy things that make you money. We bought Minecraft. We bought Activision Blizzard. We're just gonna be like, you know what? Just do your own thing. It's fine. They bought GitHub as well. Just do your own thing. We don't care what you do as long as you're making money. She'll be right. Obviously, they're gonna have, like, you know, quarterly reports and all that fun stuff they have to meet, but from what we have heard, Microsoft is taking a fairly hands-off approach. Like, they're not buying these companies for the sake of micromanaging them. Like, I'm sure they have enough people under their banner already who they already micromanage, so I can't imagine they do this for the sake of just giving themselves, you know, more work when they bought these companies because they know they're going to make the money. Even Blizzard, who in many cases have been hemorrhaging users, especially in the World of Warcraft case, I wouldn't be surprised if when Diablo 4 drops and all of that fun stuff that everyone just forgets that all of the Blizzard stuff happened and we just move on with our life. Like, as bad as that sounds, the internet has a very short attention span, and when something big drops, people are gonna forget. There's gonna be people that remember, and they will be forever, but a good number of people are gonna be like, oh, shiny trailer, shiny trailer, shiny trailer. Oh, what are you talking about? What is this? Breast milk? I never heard about that. I want to play Diablo 4. That's how it's gonna go down, because that's how it's gone down with everything else that's happened in the past. You just show people a shiny new trailer, and they forget all of the problems that happened in the past, and will give you a, what, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 10th chance, and just see what actually happens. But the one sort of big mystery right now is what actually happens with the World of Warcraft sub. So when Amazon bought Twitch, they made Twitch Prime and Amazon Prime part of the same thing. I can't imagine you would go, you know, you would just get rid of the WoW fee and everybody who has a Game Pass fee now has a WoW sub. Like, that seems really weird and would just be cutting all of your money just out from under you. But I think there's a possibility it would be, and as I was saying, this is what I do agree with this, that it would be merged into Game Pass, and you would increase the Game Pass fee. So you'd have like, maybe you'd have like a regular Game Pass, and then a Ultimate Game Pass, for example, and then Ultimate Game Pass is an extra $5, $10, whatever. Obviously, make it cheaper than than just the WoW sub by itself, and just bundle them together like that. I think that is a very high possibility. It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee whatsoever, but I think it is a non-zero chance that actually does happen. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I know the merge is not going to be properly happening, I think, until like August 2023 or something. So there's still time for, you know, things to completely fuck up, for Microsoft to be like, you know what? We're just going to micromanage everything, but I can't expect it. Now, I've seen some people, I saw this on fucking I think it was r/gaming or something, just morons who are like, oh, so because Microsoft bought Activision, does this mean that Call of Duty is only gonna be on Xbox? Like, no, stop it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, anyone who thinks that Microsoft is going to be pulling Call of Duty from the PlayStation platform doesn't know what they're doing. Like, there is no productive reason why you'd want to do that, because all you're doing is losing money. Like, literally all you're doing is losing money for what seems like literally no productive reason. Like, you want people to be playing those games. You want people to be buying those games. And yeah, that's as much as I can say about it. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, I think Microsoft would encourage Blizzard to support more platforms with their games, like having, WoW on consoles, for example, because, as I've said, if you can fit FF14, I have no idea how they do it, because I don't play a controller. If you can fit FF14 onto this, you can fit WoW onto it. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't do that, even though it might not be the most most efficient or most pleasant way to play the game. Some people disagree. Some people love controlling FF14, but just get WoW on consoles. Just get it on consoles. And look, COD's not going anywhere, so just, if you really like COD, just keep playing it and you'll be fine. Play it on PlayStation, play it on Xbox, whatever you want to play it on, and you'll probably be good to go. Now, speaking of being good to go, yes, it's good to go, and change your ISP to Aussie Broadband. So, I love Aussie Broadband. There are basically, two ISP companies in Australia that I think are worth your attention. Aussie Broadband and Make Communicate. Both of these companies are they're still fairly small ISPs, but they actually take customer service seriously. For one thing, they actually have, I believe all of their support staff are actually locally hired. But when you actually contact their support, you actually get someone who knows what they're talking about. Like, that's one of the big problems I found with a lot of ISPs. You'll call them and you'll be like, hey, I want this thing to happen. And they're like, do you mean this other thing? Like, no, I don't mean that. Just do the thing that I said. Or, you'll explain a problem and they'll be like, okay, so this problem then. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I am having a problem with this. It doesn't matter what the problem is, but I've just had so many bad experiences with ISP companies, like the major ISP companies like the Telstras, iiNet, Vodafone, Optus, all of that fun stuff, that I just think everybody should just go and put their backing behind Make Communicate and Aussie Broadband. Maybe in the future they won't be as nice. Maybe if they are bigger, then, they are going to have actual problems supporting their customers. But, yeah, at this stage, they're better. So right now, the company has call centers in both regional and metro Victoria. So yeah, they are fully locally hired call centers. It is the 5th largest NBN provider today. What the fuck? I didn't realize Aussie Broadband was that big. Okay, take back what I said. They're already massive. So, that would probably be behind, I would have to assume, Telstra, Optus, iiNet, and maybe Internode? I could be mistaken about who it's behind, but That's my assumption. But yeah, they ended up winning a service award because why wouldn't they? I've said to Dylan when I moved to the new place, when I move in with him, that just go with Aussie Broadband or Mate. He's had problems with his ISP as well. I believe he's with Optus, I want to say, or Vodafone or something like that. Oh no, IINet, because he used to be with Adam Internet. Man, Adam Internet, what a fucking shit company that was. I can rant about shitty Australian ISPs like all fucking day, but Adam Internet was one of those companies that did something that was very questionably ethical, and I don't know why it was legal. Advertising, and it still is actually happening now, advertising unlimited broadband or unlimited whatever, unlimited internet in some capacity. And then what it actually is unlimited, but over whatever threshold, 300 gig, 200 gig, whatever they want to set. Yeah, there was a time when I had a 200 gig connection. That was, 200 gig cap in like 2012, which was fucking dumb. Because by then you're streaming HD video and 200 gig is not enough to deal with that, especially with multiple people living in the house. But you have a soft cap. So above a certain threshold, then it just ends up, what's the word? Not bottlenecking, throttling. Ends up throttling your speed. So sure, it's technically infinite, but good luck using anything above 200 gig when you have like a 64K connection. Like, it was just fucking ridiculous, and all of their plans were like that. I have no idea like why IINet actually purchased them. Probably because they had a big user base. And they had a big user base because they had a lot of ads on TV at the time, not because they were actually a good company. And they'd scam boomers into thinking they were actually, like, worth using. But I'm happy there are good ISPs in Australia now. At least good on ISP standards. Like, I'm not going to say they're great, but good on ISP standards. I wonder if I look up Australia Best ISP, what actually shows up. Australia Best ISP. Best internet providers in Australia. So this is from Whistleout. Why is Mate not on this list? What the hell is Spintel? Okay, so is it going by pricing? Telstra. Fuck off. Telstra, Optus, and Dodo are on this list. No, stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. I looked at reviews for Mate just now. I have spoken to several people who have had a bad experience. Right, but like, did you have one? Listen, I always like looking at looking at the lowest reviews. The lowest and the highest reviews are always fun. I've been without service after just starting my contract. That's fairly normal when you get a new ISP. I've been trying to contact them for a week, but they just don't answer. After finally speaking, they literally said it's too bad and I'll just have to wait. Well, yeah, you probably would, because they probably don't have the service actually set up yet. they probably don't have the service set up. I think all the positive reviews are fake, as this place seems like a scam. Avoid if you can. What about all of the customers they actually have? Like, just because they have a lot of 5-star reviews doesn't mean they're not real. It probably means that they have a lot of 5-star reviews. Especially when, like, it's different when they are, you know, they're weirdly written. But let's look at these 5 stars for a second. Highest. These look like real reviews. Like, they're not template reviews. They're, like, very evidently real. So, like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just angry because, you didn't get your service set up literally the day your contract started, which that's never happened with any ISP. Oh, give me one sec. Sorry, I had to go let someone into the house. But anyway, let's look at the rest of these 1-star reviews. Critical professionalism, quality, and responsiveness. If you don't need to receive calls, this is an awesome provider. Unfortunately, I use my phone to receive calls, and this service proved as useless as their customer service. Small bit of advice: when your customer is frustrated with a service that doesn't work, don't call the customer mate. No, please call the customer mate. No, that's actually great. This is why I love Mate and Aussie Broadband. Like they're just like a bunch of Aussie dudes who run this ISP, and try and help. Wasn't receiving calls, and he put me through to a voicemail requesting callback, even though I told them I couldn't receive calls. These guys will be getting a call from the ombudsman soon. Stay away from this company. And like the interesting thing about Mate is like everyone who's giving a negative review here, they're clearly trying to be like, hey, can you like contact us back? We'll be like, we'll actually we'll help you out. We'll deal with what's actually happening here. Took NBN connection 2 weeks ago. Put me on to a wrong address. Waited for a week for it to be changed. Technician was allocated. We waited for 1 week and the appointment was scheduled. No one turned up. Rude customer service on call and said we can cancel and reimburse. Thank you for your review. We are sorry to hear this. You can issue. We can assure you that it would not have been our agent's intention to be rude. Just to clarify, you signed up with Mate via your ACN IBO. It was not Mate who contacted you to an incorrect address. It was ACN IBO. Oh, lovely. Signed up online, waited 21 hours in business day, and you my connection isn't set up literally the day. Does anyone have any of these people dealt with an ISP before? Like, have you ever had an internet provider set you up within a day? No. No one ever has had that. Did not supply the speed advertised. I was on 100 plan. Most of the time, I was only around 50. That's fairly normal for the NBN, just in general. According to our records, you performed the... Oh, that's funny. That's very funny. According to our records, you performed the below 2 speed test, below which show over 90 megabits download while troubleshooting with our support agent. Oh, that's actually great. So they straight up tried to lie about their speed. Why would you do that? So like all of these reviews here are either someone dealt with a customer that had like or dealt with a what's the word? Employee, that one. A customer service agent, a call center person that had a bad day, and that's fair. That person shouldn't be an asshole. Or they are straight up lying. Like, why? I don't get it. Dodgy practice. Here we go. Just dodgy practices. Sorry to hear you didn't even say anything. Bad customer service. The only reason I'm with Mate is because they have a cheap price. Their website and app are outdated. I will give you that. Their website is fucking garbage. Oh, here we go. Now we're in the we've gone past the 1 star. We've gone through every 1 star, and now we're in the high reviews. And it's crazy that for a company that's shit, they have primarily positive reviews. Actually, I wonder how Aussie Broadband does. Aussie... I keep trying to write Sussy Broadband. Aussie Broadband. Aussie Broadband reviews. Do you not have Google reviews? That's weird. They also have a 4.5, but they have 6,000 ratings, which makes sense considering they're a much bigger ISP. So let's go and see the 1 stars. 1 stars, as I said, are always fun to look at. Multiple internet dropouts every day. Customer service says they cannot do anything about Do anything unless 5 or more dropouts per day. Have had 5+ minute dropouts during interviews for jobs and during university exams. Have purchased new router. Have paid for installed new phone line from the street to the house. Still dropouts they say they cannot fix. I'm not joking, we have not had a single day where we are home. It has not dropped out. The Aussie Broadband team is really friendly and seem extremely helpful. Or at least you say that. That's good. I've offered to have technicians come out, but that is not an option for some reason. I'm really at a loss. I really do not want the additional cost and ping of transferring to satellite, but I see no other option. Incredible to have such poor internet service in town in the year of 2022. At least be honest when signing up and tell me that I can have 5 long dropouts per day and you will not do anything. Like, seriously, guys, that is false advertising. You need to be honest that you're selling an internet service that you refuse to fix if less than 5 dropouts per day. That seems really weird. They would say 5 dropouts per day, but maybe there are some... Maybe they don't want to be sending out technicians for like a basically an intermittent dropout. I would probably say I here give them a high rating for transparency, but you still say they're lying. Like, I would say you would have to make it clear to them like what's actually happening. Like, if you say there's been multiple dropouts in a day, like that's different from, hey, we've actually had we've been having this as a consistent thing. Honestly, I only use this service by recommendation from friends and that it being a child company of Telstra. Hey, we are separate internet company from Telstra. I love it. Oh god, I thought it was their phone number for a second. God, that would have been bad. NBN I'll give 10 out of 10. Why would you give the NBN 10 out of 10? It's almost like that's an NBN problem, not a Imagine giving the... If anyone doesn't know, the NBN is the National Broadband Network. This is basically our nationalized internet service, and the NBN is not good. It's been like, they've had like 10 different implementations of how the plan works. Some people have fiber to the house. Some people have fiber to the node, copper to the house. Some people have like cable to the house. Some people have all of these other different things. And there's never a consistent setup for how it actually goes down. Let's see. This is terrible. It stops working regularly, hours at a time. I live alone and I'm only trying to watch TV SBS on demand. This is crap. I have to go back to Telstra. This is terrible. Warning, don't refer friends to the service. They have a promotion going that if you refer a friend, then you and that friend both receive $50 each of the next bill. Sounds great, right? Let's tell all our friends. But no, it doesn't work like that. I referred my friend to their service to get fast speed, what they had, and $50 off each, and my friend gave them a call and quoted my referral number, and the customer service salesman offered them $80 off instead, which is a better deal for my friend, but now my referral doesn't matter at all. I wasn't rewarded anything for refer a friend. If you run a business, what would you choose if you were looking for a purchase? Something $50 or $80 off? It's just rude on their behalf. They should have offered them the same deal and rewarded their loyal customer of 2 years for supporting their business. I'm so upset, and I've called and complained. They couldn't offer anything, but he said Merry Christmas. I love it. Hi, Ashley. Sorry that you've had bad experience with our refer a friend promotion. Do you know what promotion your friend was offered? I'm happy to take a look into it and see what occurred here. Yes, I have lodged a complaint and no... Oh, God, did they post... Oh, my Lord. Okay. They thought this was private. They are partners and not sure what name they put it under. Could have been both. I spoke to someone on the phone, which they confirmed that they had been offered 1 free month instead of my offer and chose the $80 off first month free rather than $50 off with the referral from me. Who wouldn't choose they would have gone 100% with another company if I didn't send them a referral. Just feel scammed and disappointed. What do you mean you feel scammed? Like, I get, like, feeling disappointed, but I don't know most ISPs. Like, most ISPs don't have a referral system. Like, feeling scammed seems like a really weird, feeling to have from this. Let's see. Terrible. Dead in my account 8 days ago for new service, and after 4 calls, order not even accepted. No help from rude foreign staff either. Should have gone with TPG. Hi Trevor. Sorry you've had this experience with us. All of our staff are Australian. We employ people from all walks of life, and that includes people with different backgrounds. I would suggest lodging a formal complaint with our team here. Anyway, yeah, so it's always fun. Like, if you don't look at the 1-star reviews, you're not really looking at the reviews for any business. Like, it's all good to look at the 5 stars. Like, 5 stars are great, 3 stars are great. 1 stars are where you start getting the most interesting sort of looks at the business. Because then you get an idea of, one, if the company actually cares about their reviews, because when you have a company that cares, what's going to happen is they're going to be replying to those reviews, trying to actually address, like, why there is a problem there. And, you know, both Mate and Aussie Broadband seem to be doing that, you know, fairly frequently. I think that's just a good thing. But the other thing you get is, if you just look at the 5 stars, it's very easy getting a sort of a skewed picture of how good something actually is. You need to sort of balance that with the extreme bad to see, like, how bad it can be in some of the edge cases. And sometimes those edge cases are not the edge cases, and in which case, that's, you know, more important to see then. The 3 stars and stuff like that, they're great and all, but, like, the problem with 3 stars is usually it's people being like, oh yeah, it's good, it does the thing. It's fine. Like, unless we're talking about restaurants in many cases, in which case 3 stars mean it's the worst thing on the planet. Generally, like, it is what it is. Generally, the middle is not super important. Now, speaking of things that are important, malware. Now, over 2021, Linux targeted malware increases by 35%. Now, the reason why this number is just nonsense, it doesn't matter. Not to say that the numbers they have don't matter. The reason why they're nonsense is because we don't actually have a reference point for the 35%. So let's say, for example, there is 10 malware attacks in 2020, and then in 2021 there is 13.5. Let's just pretend you can have a half malware attack. There is 13.5. That is still objectively a 35% increase. But if there was, say, 1,000 and now there are 1,350, that is a much more substantial number. It is the same when we're talking about the percentage, but the actual real-world damage is much, much higher. So I've seen a couple of articles floating around like this, but none of them actually give, you know, useful numbers. It's all like, hey, 10x, 123% more, this much more, that much more. And that's, as I said, it's all well and good to know those numbers, but without knowing where we're working from, I wouldn't be putting too much weight into what's actually being said here. And there are people who are putting, like, they're being like, oh, this is end of the world, Linux is getting malware, everyone needs crazy antivirus now. But no, it's fine. The other thing with Linux is most of the attacks are going to be on, what's the word? Server infrastructure anyway, because, you know, that's where the money is. You're not going to be going after home users when the home user market is so incredibly tiny anyway, that even if you did trick some people, the amount of people that would actually be affected by it is so small that you don't really care anyway. unless you're such a small-scale operation, in which case you're not able to put the malware out enough to actually get enough of a, I guess, attack range to even get to the people who you might possibly be able to attack. So take articles like this with a big pile of salt, and just think twice before you believe everything that is actually said in them. I am stumbling over my words. Anyway, since we are on the topic of Linux, yes, I'll talk about a brief Linux topic that I was supposed to cover last week. With the Linux 5.16 kernel, finally, Futex 2 has made its way to the kernel. I talked about Futex 2, like a month prior to this actually happening, maybe 2 months, I don't know. I talked about it a while ago, and no one cares. No one at all fucking cares about Futex 2. So, for anyone who doesn't know what Futex 2 is, basically the idea is the way that kernel thread weighting works isn't the most efficient method it could be, especially because it doesn't actually mirror the way that it's being done on Windows. So, thread weighting, basically, if you wanted to weight a thread, you'd have to contact the kernel, and you would have to actually be checking with the kernel for when the thread is able to actually access a resource. So that wasn't very useful because you had to keep context switching, and it just meant extra resources need to be used that ultimately didn't need to be dealt with. So Futex 2 implements a system that is much more akin to the way thread weighting works on Windows, where there is a queue, and basically you can add something to the queue, and rather than having to have all of the resources check the thing that it can access, basically, from what I understand, when the resource is done, the kernel will actually say, hey, the resource is open, and then the next thing in the queue can actually access the data. So it's much less querying, much less what's the word? Polling. Much less polling that needs to be done, and it saves some level of resources. Now, for anyone who doesn't know why this actually matters, a lot of the games running on Linux are running through systems like Proton and through Wine. So by having the thread weighting system work in a way that is more akin to what happens on Windows, you are able to better make use of these resources. That's the general idea. There are some other stuff in here that's like remotely useful for gamers, but Futex 2 is sort of the main thing. Now, Futex 2 is by no means new either. So there have been a couple of third-party kernels, or you can go and compile it yourself and apply the patch, that do actually add in the Futex 2 patches. The big thing here is that Futex 2 is being mainlined, so you don't have to do that. You can just use the main version, and you're pretty much just good to go. I don't know if... I haven't updated my system in a little bit, so I don't actually know if 5.16 is out at this very moment. It probably is by now, but I haven't had a good shot to actually properly try it out. I did try the old version of Futex FSync with the Zen kernel, but I haven't tried out Futex 2, so I don't know what the actual real-world performance benefits actually would be. I can certainly look at it on paper and say this is how it should, how it actually should perform, but real world always has always provides different numbers. Now, speaking of real world provides different numbers, I very, very, very overestimated the 6500 XT. I think I said it should have performed like above a 1660 when I was first looking at it, judging by like how older cards would have been at a 500 class. Nope. This card is shit. So, Oh, it does perform better than 1660. Okay, sure, by 7 FPS. So yeah, not much, but I predicted it more. Probably, I think I had it more up around here-ish or somewhere, which maybe I was being like over ambitious with it, but it's basically in most tests trading blows with the 1660. So, is this going to be your next GPU? No. No, it's not. It's definitely not. If you don't have one, sure, I guess, if you really need a GPU. But, like, look at this. It performs... Where is it? Where is the... it performs, like, slightly better than an RX 580. Now, in some of the Linus Tech Tip tests, they actually had it performing under a 580, which... I'm not sure if the tests they were doing really make sense for that card. So, they were doing a lot of tests that involved very high VRAM. And this card is a low VRAM card. So, you know, it is going to be a problem in many cases. But if you go with games that aren't super high VRAM intensive, then yeah, it's perfectly fine. It can technically ray trace as well. Technically. You shouldn't, but it can technically do it. It just runs like absolute shit. So it's a card. Like, that's how it is at the end of the day. It is a GPU, but let's see what pricing is like and see if you should even buy one. So, I haven't looked at pricing, so I'm not even entirely sure. So 6500 XT, 319 Australian dollars. Okay. Why would you pay $600 for it? Fucking hell. Let's go up to the 6600 then. So, this is... Okay. So... Fuck, that price is a mess. You know what? No, you know what? Don't buy it. Buy it... Unless you desperately need a card, just, if you can, try to go up to the 6600. If, like, I think that's the absolute bare minimum that actually makes sense. Because... Like, look at this ray tracing performance. Obviously, you don't ray trace in a 6600 either, but, like, even just Far Cry 6, there is such a big gap between these cards. So there's 6500 XT. Where is the 6600? Is it not on this one? 6600 XT. Wait, is it not on this one? Wait. Did they not test all of their cards in all of their games? Why did you not do that? What are you doing? 6500 XT, 6600. So, in Hitman 3, you get an extra, basically 50 FPS. For, like, almost double the for double the price. That is Australian market, to be fair. Is it worth it? Maybe. Maybe. It really depends. Like, it depends on what you can actually pay for it. If you can get it at $300, I guess it's worth it at $300. This is what I paid for my original GPU. Fucking hell. I paid that for a 570. And now we're paying for a fucking entry class card. I think I paid like $370 for it. Anyway, GPUs are fucked. Should you buy this card? Maybe, but if you can afford it, I would say go up to the 6600 and you'll have a much better experience. So now that we're on the last part of the podcast, let's talk about some controversial stuff. No, this is actually just funny shit. Well, at least the first part is. So most countries that, you know, have forklifts and have jobs that involve forklifts have a forklift license. Because, you know, driving a forklift isn't the same as driving a car. Fair enough, right? Now, Morrison hopes states will allow children to drive forklifts. Morrison being our Prime Minister. So Scott Morrison will ask the states to allow children to drive forklifts at today's National Cabinet as part of measures to ease the staff shortages crippling supply chains. Man, like, imagine you being in a state where you're like, okay, so how do we get people actually working? Do we allow them to work? No. Better plan, right? Here's the fucking 5-head strategy. We let children drive forklifts. Now, by children, what they mean is like a 15 or a 16-year-old, someone who is old enough to get their start getting a driver's license. So presumably you wouldn't be able to actually do it until you're like 16, 17. They're talking about lowering the minimum age of forklift operators from 18 to 16. 16-year-olds can legally work in factories. I still think it's a dumb idea. They'll cause accidents, but the title isn't accurate. No, that's not inaccurate because a 16-year-old is literally a child. It's a fucking hilarious title, but I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, this is a weird one because you are allowed to drive a car and you are allowed to drive a motorbike. So why are you not allowed to drive a forklift? A vehicle that goes much slower, you could argue has the potential to do more damage considering the context it's driven in, but I don't know. Like, should the forklift driving age be 16? Like, I have my arguments to say that it shouldn't because children are fucking stupid, and that, look, adults with a forklift are stupid. So children with a forklift it's not gonna be a great situation. But also, if you're already working around forklifts and you already have a driver's license, like, should you just be able to obviously you would still need a forklift license. I don't think he's doing away with forklift licenses, but should you be able to actually get a forklift license at 16? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. A lot of people in here are claiming it's clickbait. It's like, oh, but children means an 8-year-old. Like, that's not. No, it's not what we're saying. Morrison throwing back to the Industrial Revolution. Copying Biden using... Oh, yeah, there was that as well. Right, the US is doing a similar thing. Biden trucks. Where is it? Oh... US children drive trucks. I can't find it. But I know that there were people talking about how apparently the US is doing a similar thing, or at least Biden is talking about doing a similar thing, wanting to let like 16-year-olds drive a truck, like a long haul truck, like actual big trucks. Honestly, like, I think it's kind of funny. I think it's kind of funny that you can't, like, you can work in these environments and you can drive a car, but you can't get a forklift license. So you know what? I'm gonna say maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it is a good idea, but maybe at the end of the day it would work out. It would work out horribly and would not be a good idea. But we'll see what it is. Speaking of horrible ideas, I forgot this horrible idea actually existed. The $19 Apple cleaning cloth. This is a thing that actually exists. There is a cloth that Apple sells to, I guess, clean your screens, clean your devices, which, for all intents and purposes, is a microfiber cloth that has an Apple logo on it. Should you buy it? No. No. Let's go. Like, if you go to eBay, right, or just microfiber cloth. How much is a microfiber cloth? Oh, you can buy. Here we go, 20-pack. Here's a 20-pack from Bunnings. 20-pack for $10. So, like, you know, should you buy the $19 Apple cleaning cloth? No. But should you buy most of the shit that Apple puts out? No, you shouldn't. I remember when I had a MacBook. I was a MacBook user at one point. I had a MacBook and then a MacBook Pro, both of which I didn't pay for, so that's also great. I didn't have an official charger because why would you need an official charger? Like my original charger for my MacBook, holy shit, it was a fire hazard. So those old MagSafe chargers, I don't know if it's still a problem nowadays. They get to a point where at the connection between the brick and like the cable itself, they start to fray. Now when they fray, they will spark. Like actually spark. It was a literal fire hazard every time I plugged it in. So I got rid of that, replaced it with a $5 charger off eBay, never looked back, and you know what? It worked fine. Do I recommend you buy $5 chargers off eBay? I'm not going to say that I don't, right? I would be lying if I said that I don't. Because right now, powering my camera is a $5 power adapter I got from eBay. So, It's something that you need to decide. Do you think it's going to be worth it? Are you going to run it with a surge protector 24/7? If yes, well, it's probably fine. My camera I've had for like a year now. It hasn't died, so it's probably fine. My laptop I had using a knockoff charger for like 2 years. It was fine. No problem whatsoever. It was so knockoff, it even had like a knockoff Apple logo on it, because why not add a knockoff Apple logo? Surely Apple will have no problem with you using their branding when you're not actually associated with the company. But, yeah. It is what it is. Speaking of it is what it is, Dbrand, that company that makes skins for things, is making skins for the Steam Deck. Or at least, we know they are making skins. We don't know what else they're doing. But the people in these comments here are really fucking dumb. So, actually, I'll start with the whole Steam Deck thing. So, we already knew they were going to make one. Like, we already knew they were going to make a skin for the Steam Deck, because they make a skin for everything. They have a Switch skin, they have a PS4, like, they have, like, custom plates for the PS4. PS5, sorry. You know, like, the big wobbly plate sort of things. They have custom versions of those. They make skins for phones. Like, obviously, the Steam Deck, they're going to make a custom skin for. Especially when they have one for the Switch already. So, like, yeah. But the people in these comments were like, what do you mean you're doing anything? Actually, wait. Does anyone find how many people mention Steam Deck? Did Dbrand get their hands on a Steam Deck early? That's fine. Here we go. Here's an actual sensible comment. Making Steam Deck plates. I wouldn't be surprised, considering we know how to tear it apart, if they make custom faceplates for it. I think that would be really cool. What I think is more likely though is where's the dumb people in here? Give me some dumb comments. Let's see. Come on, give me a thing. It's a Steam Deck. Why are people saying it's a new console from Dbrand? Because someone actually did say that. There is at least one person in here who thinks it is a new console. Like, they actually think that they are, like, making their own console. Like, no, it's just a Steam Deck. Also, there's some people in here who are like, I don't even know what a Steam Deck is. I thought it was a PSP. Here we go. Do people even use these? They probably don't, probably because it's not fucking released yet. No, obviously. What I presume, hopefully what the person means is, do people even use Dbrand skins? That's a fair question. I don't use skins for my stuff. But I'm excited to see what they put out for it. As I said, I don't use D-brand skins, but I know a lot of people do, and if there is a cool skin available, that's good for everyone who cares about it, I guess. And no, they're not making a console, because that's stupid. Because this is a Steam Deck. Also, people saying, oh, did you guys get a Steam Deck early on? Like, yes, because they have dev kits available. It's like, yes, Steam. You can already get a Steam Deck right now. You just have to be a developer or someone like D-Brand who makes skins for them. I don't know how I didn't talk about this last week, because I actually really like the movie, but there is a Scott Pilgrim anime in the works from Netflix. Now, I don't like Netflix's release model. As someone who tends to watch seasonal content, I'm taking a break right now. Probably won't ever get back into like all the seasonals I was watching before, but as someone who likes to watch seasonal content, I really don't like the way that Netflix handles their anime release model. So typically anime watchers will like to watch stuff week to week as it's actually made. This allows for a hype, like basically there'd be hype for the entire run of the series. Whereas if you just upload it all at once, what ends up happening there is the hype's there for like maybe 1, 2, maybe a week. But after that, everyone's just forgotten it existed. Like Stone Ocean, for example. No one's talking about Stone Ocean right now, but if Stone Ocean aired like 1 episode a week, I think it'd still be airing actually. No, we've done with the season, so it would have finished like maybe 2 weeks ago. But still, it would have been like in people's minds for 3 months. I didn't hear anyone talk about it like after the first couple of days. Same with Bucky, for example. Like no one talked about Bucky after it initially released because it just all dropped at once. So if this does happen, when this does happen, if it's any good, I hope they do a weekly model, but I want to know what ends up actually happening here. Like, I've never watched the, I've never read the source material for Scott Pilgrim, so I don't really know, what else is out there, but I like the movie, so, I'm excited for it. Also, I wouldn't be excited for it if I didn't know who was actually animating it. So, this is a series that's going to be by Science Saru. Now, they say, oh, they did some episodes of Star Wars Visions, and yeah, they did, but that's also the least important thing they've ever done. Science Saru has not a massive history, at least in, conventional anime, but they do have a history. So, Devilman Crybaby, which is a fucking banger. I love Devilman Crybaby. If you haven't seen Devilman Crybaby, I recommend that you stop what you're doing right now and you go and watch it. They did Ping Pong the animation back in 2014, which also absolute banger. Recommend you go watch Ping Pong. It looks really weird if you've never seen the Ping Pong anime. It's very strange. Yeah, here we go. Just this sort of shows off how weird the animation is, but watching Ping Pong actually happen, like, it's not like any sports anime you've ever seen before. If you only watch one sports anime, so you make it be Ping Pong. True, though. But besides that, they've done, Nihon Shinbotsu 2020, which is Japan Sinks, Kimi to Nami ni Noretara, Ride Your Way, which I haven't seen. Obviously Star Wars Vision stuff. But the most important thing, which I think actually relates to what they can do with Scott Pilgrim, is Erzuken. This is basically about like an anime club, and it's fucking weird because as they are making the anime, like half the episode is spent inside like the characters' crazy imagination, like exploring this world that they're creating in their minds. So I think because they've done such a great job with this, I am hopeful that they can just make this really good. We don't know really anything about it at this point from what I know, but I don't want to say I'm excited for it, but I am certainly interested in seeing it happen. And I'm much more hopeful for a anime adaptation than a live action adaptation. Now, it's a question of whether they're doing a movie or a series. If they do a movie, I don't know. It may just be a mess, and they may just not really explain anything, or not really get too deep into any of the world. If they make a series, though, I'm gonna be watching it. Like, regardless, I will watch it. I just don't know what it's gonna be like. I'm hopeful with the studio, but that's about as far as it goes. Do we have anything else exciting to talk about on this list? Oh, right. There was this story I saw a little while ago. Yeah, here it is. So this happened back on January 10th. The SEC charges decentralized Amazon Web Services competitor with scamming investors. So this is a company called Crowd Machine. Now, the investors who put money into this are possibly some of the dumbest people that I've ever seen. So what this company was effectively selling was a botnet. Like, I'm not joking. Their idea was a botnet. So, let's see. Where's the explanation of the company itself? Here we go. An SEC complaint says that Sprawl collected at least $33 million through an initial coin offering ICO to build a decentralized crowd computer platform, which he claimed was battle-tested by Fortune 500 company. I'm sure it was. He compared the services to AWS and Microsoft Azure and said that Crowd Machine compute token, fuck off, could be worth between $10 and $600 a piece. But the complaint says he made false and misleading statements, and this platform was never built as advertised. Instead, Crowd Machine hosts its system on centralized servers. That didn't explain what it did. The secondary market. This used to have an explanation of what the company was. Effectively, the idea from what I understood it is, rather than having a centralized hosting provider, like, you know, a hosting provider, it would instead have users of the service, and you'd borrow computing from users of the service to, like, run whatever your web service actually was. So that would be a fucking nightmare to manage, but also, that's a bot. You've literally explained a botnet. Like, you using a network of computers to do decentralized computing. Like, sure, it may be people who've, like, accepted into this deal, but I can guarantee 100% that there will be people that would take advantage of that at an absolute drop of a hat. But also, it doesn't matter, because the service doesn't exist. They just never made it, because it's fucking stupid. Also, it has to have crypto in it, because why not? Why not have crypto? Oh, here we go. Actually, it does say it. So, which promised a global cloud computing network built on users' computers. So yes, literally a botnet. Like, you're explaining a botnet. It's a botnet with crypto. It's a botnet with a coin for the botnet. Like, that's all it is. Not to say this idea is inherently bad. It's just a really bad idea to be running arbitrary software on random computers. Also ping. Like, ping's also a big deal. And, like, breaking up data to be decentralized in such a way is not an easy process. And load balancing and all of this fun stuff, not easy. Like, this is an actual serious task. There is a reason why there is, like, an entire subsection of AWS all about load balancing. Because load balancing on anything above, like, you know, something you can run on a Raspberry Pi becomes quite important. Anyway, I think we've talked about basically everything I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, one last thing. There is like a lawsuit regarding someone who was using Tesla's auto driving. They're the first driver to actually be here we go. Tesla lawsuit. It is the first driver to actually be not a lawsuit, I guess. The first driver to be charged with felony charges in a fatal crash involving Tesla's autopilot. Now, the current autopilot we have is referred to as level 2 autopilot. I'm not entirely sure on the details on what level 2 actually means, but I believe level 3 means fully automatic. Let's see. Level 2 autonomous cars. Give me a or maybe level 1. Which way does it go? Level 2 cars have internal systems that take care of all aspects of driving, steering, acceleration, and braking. However, the driver must be able to intervene if any part of the system fails. Level 2 is also referred to as hands-off. Okay. Okay, sorry, level 0. Wait. Okay, level 0 is no autonomy. Right. And level 5 is full autonomy. Right, okay, that's the order it goes. I don't know what's going to happen as we keep going down this autonomous driving route. If we get to the point where we have level 5 autonomous vehicles, or even just level 3 autonomous vehicles where, like, you can take your eyes off the road. If that is the case, I don't know if you can actually make the driver liable in a crash then. Because if the vehicle is being sold as a vehicle where you do not have to pay attention while you are driving, I don't know whether you can actually make the driver liable in a crash. Now, in this case, what happened is the driver put too much faith into the level 2 system and was in a felony crash. But level 2, you're supposed to be paying attention. I am very interested to see like what actually happens with autonomous vehicles as time goes on, because like it or not, over time, I don't think there is anything inherently special about the human mind, and I don't think it's happening anytime soon, but I don't think it's an impossibility that we actually get level 5 autonomous vehicles at some point. Maybe not in my lifetime, but at some point, fully autonomous vehicles that you don't have to pay attention to. And in some cases, you might not even be able to pay attention to. They just drive themselves. If you cannot control the car, can you make the driver or the owner of the vehicle actually liable for those damages? Or is the company that owns the vehicle the one that's actually liable? Because they sold this system under the presumption that it's actually completely safe to drive, or completely safe to let you drive around. I don't know. I think that's a problem for lawyers to deal with as time goes on, and I don't think it's going to be something dealt with in a easy manner. It may end up leading to level 5 autonomous vehicles just not being allowed on the road. Like, we may end up actually stopping at level 2 or level 3 just because we decided that anything more than that is too much of a potential hazard, and there's not really any clear way to actually handle it. But that is a problem for a future podcast 10, 20 years down the line, but we'll see how that actually goes, I guess. So that's going to be pretty much it for me then. If you like this podcast, then remember to go and like it. And if you really like the podcast, I've got my Patreon subscribers only bearer pay linked in the description down below. If you're listening to the video version, I've got the audio version available on every single podcast app out there. If you're listening to the audio version, the video version is available on YouTube and Odyssey. I've got a gaming channel called Brody Robertson Plays, where I play video games. Right now, I'm playing Hollow Knight and Spyro Year of the Dragon. Year of the Dragon is a buggy mess. And on the main channel, Brody Robertson, I do Linuxy videos and other fun stuff like that. And maybe you'll see me play Super Tux coming sometime soon. But besides that, I'm doing my LFS series still, and it's taking fucking forever because it's LFS. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Usually I don't segue that neatly into the outro, but I guess we are today. I'm gonna go, so I'm out.